Thanks to Nola Mattress for sponsoring today's video. From the moment humans first picked up sticks and stones, war has been a story of innovation. Each new weapon rewriting the rules of survival. Spears replaced fists, bows replaced spears, bronze replaced stone, and iron replaced bronze. Every age believed it had reached the peak of lethality until the next breakthrough arrived. Gunpowder ended the era of armored warriors. Cannons shattered castle walls once thought to be indestructible. Muskets forced armies into rigid formations where discipline mattered more than strength. Then, industrial warfare made the battlefield unrecognizable. Machine guns, trenches, tanks, and aircraft turned open ground into a mechanized slaughter. The 20th century brought speed and reach. Guided missiles, satellites, stealth aircraft, each leap giving nations new ways to see, strike, and dominate. By the early 2000s, precision munitions and early drones allowed militaries to kill from miles away with near-perfect accuracy. And then came the revolution no one was ready for. Modern drones and autonomous systems didn't evolve warfare, they destroyed the old rulebook. A single operator with a buzzing quadcopter can now destroy armored vehicles, expose hidden positions, and control the movement of entire battalions. AI targeting, swarm technology, and autonomous weapons are collapsing the gap between the battlefield and the algorithm. For the first time in human history, the next war may not be decided by strategy, manpower, or even courage, but by who controls the machines. But what happens when the machines stop needing control at all? So who unleashed this kind of new warfare? And how much of it is already running on its own? And if the machines take the next step, are we prepared for the war that follows? Let's try and find out.
Hello, I'm Mike Droberg, a Marine Corps veteran and filmmaker, and we will try to answer these questions on today's episode of Forgotten History.
Modern drone warfare did not appear overnight. It slipped quietly into the battlefield in the early 2000s, when drones were nothing more than unarmed eyes in the sky. They hovered for hours, streaming grainy footage to commanders, replacing scouting patrols that used to cost men their lives. Back then, drones mattered, but they didn't decide the fate of a battle. The first real shift came when the United States armed the Predator and later the Reaper. Overnight, drones became executioners. A pilot sitting thousands of miles away could eliminate a target with no risk, no dogfight, no chance of being shot down. For a brief moment in history, America held something close to a monopoly on remote killing. Most nations assumed drones were just a niche tool, a supplement to war, not the future of it. Then, the bottom dropped out. Commercial technology. Cheap, fast, unstoppable. Blew past traditional military development. Hobby drones meant for photographers and YouTubers were suddenly carrying explosives. Lightweight frames, high-resolution cameras, long-lasting batteries. All mass-produced, globally available, and instantly adaptable for combat. For the first time, the most dangerous weapon on the battlefield wasn't built by defense contractors. It was built by consumer tech companies who had no idea what they unleashed. And Ukraine proved it. It became the first major war where both sides used drones in numbers the world had never imagined. Recon drones exposed artillery positions. quadcopters, stalked infantry hiding in trenches. First-person view kill drones dove straight into armored vehicles worth millions. And the footage revealed something far darker than military analysts expected. The drones didn't just destroy equipment, they destroyed morale. Soldiers weren't fighting an enemy anymore. They were being hunted. That's when drones stopped being a tool and became the center of modern warfare. They replaced scouts, snipers, even artillery spotters. They became the eyes, ears, and often the first strike of entire units. Any army that couldn't adapt quickly enough didn't just fall behind, they got slaughtered. And with widespread drone use came the collapse of an old certainty. For over a century, armies believed that with the right tactics, the right formations, and the right terrain, they could move with at least some hope of concealment. That world is gone. Alright, before we dive deeper into the future of warfare, let me talk about something that has actually made my life better. My NOLA mattress. NOLA is an award-winning mattress brand, known for its cooling technology, pressure relief design, and long-lasting durability. And the best part, it ships right to your door for free. Setup was easy. It comes rolled in a box, and the mattress inflates on its own. And unlike some other brands, NOLA mattresses are fiberglass-free and made without harmful chemicals, so there's no off-gassing or weird factory smell. They're also built at their factory in Arizona, where they handle everything in-house: the foams, the coils, the sewing. So the quality control is solid. I'm a back and side sleeper who prefers a firm mattress, so I chose the NOLA Evolution. I've had it for almost a year now, and what surprises me the most is how quickly I fall asleep on it. I used to wake up with aches and stiffness, but that has noticeably improved, thanks to the pressure point relief the mattress offers. If you're someone who's unsure about buying a mattress online, they give you a 120-night sleep trial. That's 4 months to test it out and make sure you love it. Every mattress also comes with a limited lifetime warranty, and they offer financing options and flexible payment plans. So if you've been thinking about upgrading your bed, I genuinely recommend checking out NOLA. So head to nolamattress.com/history today and use my code HISTORY to get an extra $50 off your mattress. This is on top of whatever sale they're already running. You won't be disappointed. With drones watching from above, movement itself has become a gamble with death. A soldier takes one step outside a trench, and somewhere in the sky, a buzzing camera marks him for destruction. There's no way to hide, no chance to maneuver, no heroic charge, just exposure, detection, and then impact. Once a drone spots a unit, they don't have hours to react. They have minutes, sometimes only seconds. Armor, once the king of the battlefield, has become a coffin with an engine. Tanks were built to withstand shells, rockets, even direct hits from other armored vehicles, but they were never designed to survive an attack from the top. Drones exploit that weakness with brutal efficiency. A few $100s of explosives, dropped with perfect accuracy, can destroy machines that cost millions. Crews sit helplessly inside, knowing the dangers above them, not ahead of them. The battlefield has flipped upside down. Artillery isn't safe either. In earlier wars, artillery could fire, relocate, and hope the counter-battery radar didn't catch them. Now, a spotter drone floats silently above, watching for muzzle flashes. The moment a gun fires, it's exposed. The time between firing and incoming retaliation has shrunk from minutes to moments. Artillery crews don't fear enemy guns anymore. They fear the flying camera that never blinks. Even infantry has lost the one thing they always relied on: numbers. Large formations are a death sentence. Gathering, a death sentence. Standing still, a death sentence. Modern infantry lives like hunted animals, spread out, dug in. covered in camouflage and praying their heat signature doesn't get picked up. The battlefield has fractured into tiny groups creeping through terrain, not armies maneuvering with momentum. Everything soldiers learned in training, formations, movement drills, coordinated assaults, falls apart when a drone can wipe out a platoon in one strike. In Ukraine, soldiers talk about it openly. They don't fear the rifle fire anymore. They fear the buzzing sound overhead, the sound that means someone is watching them specifically. A cheap quadcopter drone can hover for hours, staring into trenches. You can't fight back against that. You can't negotiate with it. You just wait, knowing your next moment might be your last. Electronic warfare has become the new invisible front line. Russian jammers knock drones out of the sky in waves, severing control links over entire sectors. Ukrainian teams counter by swapping frequencies, launching from unexpected angles, and running fiber optic tethers straight to forward positions, or simply overwhelming defenses with sheer volume. And this is only the beginning. Each improvement in drone capability shrinks the battlefield, limits human agency, and accelerates the feeling soldiers now talk about openly. The sense that they're fighting a war they can't influence against a weapon they can't see, controlled by a person or machine they'll never face. The rise of drones also created moral questions earlier generations never had to face. In Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Yemen, remote strikes allowed operators sitting thousands of miles away to eliminate insurgent leaders with near-perfect precision. It protected American forces, but it also blurred the line between war and assassination. The Obama administration even authorized strikes on American citizens tied to terrorist networks, a decision that ignited fierce debates about due process, civilian safety, and what happens when the trigger pull no longer requires being anywhere near the battlefield. And it didn't stop with governments. Non-state actors quickly copied the model. In Iraq and Syria, ISIS modified cheap commercial drones to drop grenades on advancing forces and to scout urban streets from above. A terrorist group with no air force suddenly had its own budget version of air power, proof that drone warfare could spread far beyond the control of nations that pioneered it. As drones proliferated, nations scrambled to build defenses, radar nets, automated guns, interceptor drones, jammers. An arms race exploded almost overnight. But the math doesn't favor defense. A drone that costs a few $100s can force a nation to deploy systems costing millions. Production is faster, cheaper, and far harder to regulate. Offense is evolving faster than anyone can build shields. At this point, drones aren't just changing tactics. They're reshaping the ethical, strategic, and political foundation of modern conflict. They're changing who fights, how they fight, and whether humans even matter in the decision-making chain. Artificial intelligence is already pulling that chain tighter. Not in the Hollywood killer robot sense, but in subtle, dangerous ways. Software that identifies vehicles automatically, highlights artillery positions, or analyzes terrain patterns faster than any human operator. It doesn't decide who dies, but accelerates the process until human judgment becomes the slowest, weakest part of the system. Autonomous navigation is even more alarming. Nations are now testing drones that fly to pre-programmed routes without a live operator. In Bakhmut, Russian and Ukrainian units use drones that continue their mission even after losing signal, guided only by onboard logic. Simple today, but tomorrow, the machines may not need humans at all. And the moment drones no longer require a human operator, war stops being a contest between soldiers. It becomes a contest between algorithms, and humans are just collateral caught in the middle. The next major leap in drone warfare is already forming: swarms. Not one drone, not a dozen, but hundreds, all linked together, communicating, dividing targets, and maneuvering as a single mind. Early tests look simple, almost harmless, but the principle is terrifying. Machines coordinating faster than humans can think. Once perfected, no air defense system on Earth will be able to stop them. You can shoot down a drone, but you can't shoot down a cloud of them. Military planners still reassure the public that AI will support soldiers, not replace them. But on the battlefield, the truth is already obvious. AI doesn't need to replace humans. It only needs to make humans too slow to matter. Every year, the reaction gap widens. Every year, the role of the operator shrinks. Ukraine proved how quickly the balance can collapse. Russia entered the war with superior firepower, more armor, and decades of traditions of military doctrine. None of it mattered. Both sides watched tanks, artillery, and infantry neutralized by drones that cost less than a rifle. It was the clearest signal yet that the old metrics of power, armor count, artillery range, troop numbers are becoming irrelevant. Other nations saw the same thing and took notes. China is scaling drone production at industrial levels, building long-range systems capable of reaching deep into the Pacific. Iran is exporting drones to militias across the Middle East, giving small groups the ability to strike at strategic targets once protected by distance. Suddenly, nations that could barely field an army can now threaten infrastructure across whole regions. The United States has the technology to respond, but not the speed. Building a jet or tank takes years. Building drones takes days. The advantage now belongs to whoever can manufacture the most systems the fastest. And that's not how superpowers are used to fighting. That's the strategic warning almost no one is talking about. The next war won't be decided by who controls the skies. It will be decided by who controls the space just above the trees. The low altitude, the drone zone, is wide open, undefended, and increasingly lethal. If that space stays vulnerable, even the most advanced military can be overwhelmed by a swarm launched from a garage. Drones have turned the battlefield into a place where movement, concealment, and survival depend on constant adaptation. What once required battalions can now be done by a teenager with a backpack and a remote. Offense is cheap, defense is slow, and every new breakthrough pushes humans farther out of the fight. And the change is still accelerating. New systems roll out every month, new software every week, new tactics every day. The real question is no longer whether drones will define the next war. It's whether humans will have any meaningful role in fighting at all. Let us know your thoughts on the future of warfare in the comments below.
Thank you for watching Forgotten History. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any comments or show ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks again.